Okay. I think I might have fixed it. I might have fixed it. You know what's really weird? Is I actually think it's my Spotify that might keep crashing my stream. I'm actually relatively convinced it's my Spotify. Should we see if this works now? Are we good? Are we alive? Can we see motion? Are we not dead? I think we're not dead. Right, it might have killed my YouTube chat because it's going to have restarted that stream. So let's try that again, shall we? All the stuff I usually do at the beginning to prep. Now doing it on the fly. Okay. I think it's Spotify. Instantly starts Spotify again. Well, now if I know what the cause is, just doing gathering, clearly. Yeah, just the mere thought of going out farming has caused my entire PC to be like, nope, nope. What are you doing? Right. Right, are we good? Are we saved? I think, you know, I think it's time that we did this whole thing properly. And I think it's time I set up a proper streaming PC. I have another PC here. I just need to buy a capture card. And I need to fix the audio. And then I won't have any of these problems. Game on one PC, stream on another. Problem solved. Want to run 15 WoW accounts on big, powerful gaming PC? No problem. That's what we're going to have to do, I think. Touch some wood. Hey, you touch your wood. Get off my wood. Right. Okay. I got the weak aura installed, so hopefully I can track some of the herbs I'm still, in theory, missing. Bunch of lure drops, bunch of myco blooms, the altered and the spore-fused varieties. There should be some knowledge points to obtain from a bunch of this, even though it does seem to claim that I have not picked up Iron Claw, which seems like a lie. Yeah, the list seems to ever so slightly change depending on which profession I have open, but I think that's a quirk of how the weak auras work. About to invest in 5 machines, create a pentagram to summon the ultimate goblin mode. So, sounds like something out of Final Fantasy. It might be needed though. It might be the plan. That might be what we do. Right, I don't know where nothing is in this zone, so I guess the first lap is going to be complete testaroonies. Let's get Loot Appraiser open. DB region market average value. No, 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 my friend. No, 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 no. Let's change that, please. Custom price saw. Oh no, recent value. DB recent, please. Give me all this fake value region-wide 2-week-old rubbish. Right. That also sounds like we finished prospecting back here. Okay. I think... Let's give it a go. Let's see how it goes, shall we? See if it completely breaks on us. You'll have to tell me if we F again. But I will promise to get this properly fixed, because while you guys don't notice it, it infuriates me every time the stream crashes for what I believe to be no real reason at all. Is it going to be worth picking up these, what do we think? Do we think it's just extra money? Do we think it's the same logic of if you're flying past it, you should do it with the wax? I guess you can get some mats that you can sell if nothing else. It's freebies. Can't argue with freebies. Got True Sight Vial on? Yes, what do you mean? Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell I'm not very aged, like a fine wine at doing this? Crystallized lure drop. That sounds like one we need in our lives. I have a real problem that I'm level 79 just by gathering. I'm about to ding level 80, but the problem is I've picked up no gear, so I'm still like trash tier gear level, which is a problem. At least when we ding 80 we can do something about it, I suppose, but these last couple of bars are going to be a touch frustrating. We can just buy a set of level 80 leveling gear though, can't we? A hunter, you'll be fine. Well, yeah, see, this is it, right? There's the logic that we shouldn't die because we're a hunter. But then again, it's me playing, so anything could happen. Hate the capture mining, is that what we're calling them? I don't mind those, you know, you just don't stand in the fire. Seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't see what the problem is. Oh god, my pet couldn't even tank a single snail. This isn't going to end very well, is it? Let me also prepare something for when the 500th person asks what this week or it is. I think it's just on that. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it. Hang on, hang on. Let me get you the Wago link. Where'd it go? Which window did I put it in? Did I not put it in any of the window? Flip it now. Hang on, please hold. History, that one. Right. This is the Wago link to this thing up here. The War Within Acuity Gatherer Tracker. It's made by the same guy who does Craft Sim, so he was kind enough to quickly bang it out when we needed something before the expansion. Keeping old Ranthius over here prospecting is going to be the bigger trick, isn't it? That's why I don't multitask. You know, some people are just not good at multitasking and probably just shouldn't. I'm one of them. I need simple, straightforward, no messing. Did you try the Addon Journalator? That's the accountancy type one, isn't it? I don't use it. I've heard some people say good things about it though. I, at least historically, have put my faith in TSM Ledger. Now they've redone their ledger, and I also nuked my entire TSM setup. So I'm kind of hoping that TSM's ledger will do the job for me, rather than me needing extra add-ons to do it in game. But if, for whatever reason, I need it, I might have a look. Also tracks crafting orders. Well, there's no worry of me doing any of that. I ain't doing crafting orders. You got me mad. No chance. None of my professions are spec'd into anything even remotely work order. None whatsoever. And I think 4 of my characters now basically don't care about Artisan Acuity either, so it's a spare toolbox. Used in the Awakening machine to create a bonus toolbox. Clever. Grab the wax the cobalt drops. Oh, I've never seen this one before. Oh no, I went too far. Missed it. That'll do. I almost don't want my speed potions on this because I feel like I have to tab back to it too much. Oh god. Can't move for wax piles. Trying it now, it doesn't miss sales like TSM, seems like it so far. Journalator's also another one by Plus Mouse, right? I'm pretty sure. He's clearly one of the more competent add-on devs, for sure. I'm not saying there are incompetent add-on devs. They do a thankless job in the first place. Are the wax piles actually worth gathering? Profane Tinderboxes would say so. If you pull a tinderbox out of one of them, absolutely. My Pui level gear though probably makes them less worth picking up, but something is something. I kind of can't believe I've nearly dinged level 80 though just on a gathering character. Like for me that's unheard of to have even done that much gathering in the first place. Stupid sky golem. But by the time you've stacked a few level 80s, you kind of can level really quick. No, don't know why that one didn't want to do. That one's gone away as well. Look at all them chickens. How many tinderboxes do you get? Well, tinderboxes are meant to be like a roughly 1% drop chance, I reckon. Chickens. I haven't really put maths to it particularly. I don't do any of this anywhere near enough to math any of this out. I just do it. But yeah, I would still say picking up the wax is probably a good idea. I know they've nuked the value of the turn-ins, but even still, I'm sure it's probably worth. As an activity to keep me busy while I'm actually just prospecting, no issues really. More issues with the fact that I seem not to be able to fly in the right direction. Yeah, where gathering's considered, the more byproducts you can get, the more bonuses you can obtain, I think the better generally. It often comes to a point where people sort of hyper-focus and min-max their routes and that sort of stuff, but I don't really think you need to worry about all of that sort of stuff too much at the beginning of an expansion. Everything should be worth something to somebody. So, just picking up stuff is probably a plan. Honestly, the biggest trick is this true sight vial. These things are these things quite literally double the amount of stuff you see. I'm convinced of it. Yo-ho! Q3 lure drops. Get in my bags. You're crafting on another account. Does that mean you have to pay for more than one? Yes. Yes. I have 2 copies of The War Within, 2 monthly subscriptions. In the past, I've had significantly more than 2 accounts as well. Is this what people do who are multi-boxing? Do they have to have the same mounts and stuff? Well, pretty much everything is shared across your Battle.net. You can have 8 accounts on one single Battle.net account, and so you can simultaneously run up till 8 accounts without really having much issues with which mounts have they got or anything like that. So. I mean, you want to be careful with the sort of multi-boxing side of things, because as long as you are doing individual things on the accounts, you know, there's no issues whatsoever. Just be careful at, like, the fact that there is, if you're using any form of software or any form of hardware to send multiple actions to multiple accounts, so like if you press one button it goes to multiple accounts, you're not allowed to do that. But you can have as many accounts as you want doing different things. Even if they're all doing the same thing, it's still fine, but you just gotta make sure that there's one key press is doing one thing on one account. That's kind of the main rule. It's not always been that way, but it is now, so. If I added another account to my Blizzard, would it share my achievements, mounts, collections? Yes, yes. A single Battle.net account can have up to 8 accounts linked to it. If you if you lurk in many gold making streams, you'll often see gold makers having at least 2. Usually 1 to do some mundane task like I'm doing in the background here. You know, something that just takes you a lot of time to do. And then they'll have a second account where they're doing something else on it. Very common to have an account that's just active, purely sat at the auction house, meaning you're just always there, which is handy. I really don't like this zone so far. Constant aggro everywhere from things. Admittedly, I'm in kind of the sketchy areas, but... yeah, I'm getting out of this bit. There's plenty of herbs, but I keep pulling aggro on stuff. Slows me down. I kind of have a bit of a suspicion as well, and this is only based upon what previously has happened in other expansions, so if you choose to believe this or not, it's kind of up to you. The common thing we see when a season launches is that the amount of materials that is actively on a daily basis being collected and farmed, like, drops off a cliff. Because everybody has spent the first couple of weeks with not really much to do other than lore master, world quests, you know, run around, tinker, do some stuff. So most people spend a lot of their first couple of weeks making some gold, and the way they do that is farming. When the season launches though, and all the good stuff turns up in their eyes, they then put themselves in a position where they're no longer farming, but they're then consuming. They then take all of that gold that they've just made over the first couple of weeks and start spending it. And this usually means that prices change quite heavily when a season starts, which is kind of what I'm banking on, and why I want to keep my herb miner dude up to speed, so that if the profits do skyrocket, we have something to keep us busy whilst we're doing something more mundane on the crafting counts. So what you're saying is we'll see lure drop 600 gold each? Honestly, if it's 300 gold a piece now, and it's not being used for anything particularly, I see no reason why not. So are you saying the price? No, I want to be very clear about this. I'm not saying anything about the price. I'm merely indicating what the supply and the demand of things does. Now, what that does on price is affected by many more things than just supply and demand. But the amount of supply of newly generated materials after the launch of a season declines pretty rapidly as everybody stops farming. Whilst at the very same time, everybody starts consuming all of these high-end goods, which up until this point haven't really been bought. So, like, it completely flips in the opposite direction, which in turn can have dramatic effects on the prices. But that's not the only thing that will affect them. There's a couple of indicators I'm watching. Tempered potions, for example. The current supply in the auction house will be probably gobbled up in one day. I mean, he's publicly streamed this, so I guess it's of no surprise to anybody, and I guess I'm not leaking any info. But K-Chak has been producing those like an absolute machine for the last 2 weeks. I'm sure he'll keep the auction house pretty pumped. I'm sure he's going to have words to say in that market. I probably wouldn't have said anything if he hadn't been streaming the other day, but he's kind of given the game away himself. Yeah, it depends how many guild banks of them there are just knocking about. This is another thing, right? It's we don't really have any indication of exactly what's in people's bags, so we have to use the auction house as like a guide to sort of give us an indication to how much of a thing exists. But I always keep a rough number in my mind of the whatever I assume that whatever I see on the auction house is maybe only about a third of what might actually exist. I usually think that most of the supply is usually in people's bags, in people's mailboxes, in people's guild banks, and that what we see on the auction house is only a fraction of what really exists. So, and I use this when it comes to like buying materials or trying to buy out and reset markets and stuff. That be aware that not everything is on the auction house. A lot of it probably is, but not everything. This is why so many people get caught out with market resets. They're like, oh, there's only 20,000 of something on the auction house. Let me buy it all out and flip it to 3 times the price. And then 2 hours later, there's 100,000 of that thing on the auction house. And they're like, well, there was only 20,000 earlier. Where did all these come from? It's like, yeah, you'd be surprised. Actually, we're clearly claiming new stuff, which means more knowledge points, right? Oh, what? All of these dings, and we've only had 1 knowledge point. Scammed. Actual scammed. I mean, World First guilds have their own stuff, but there's a lot of raiding guilds that do not plan for stuff like this. Oh, World First guilds don't do any of this. No. World First guilds aren't messing about with professions. They couldn't care less. You know why? Gold. They couldn't care less about half of this, because if they need it, they buy it. It's significantly easier for them to run up a line of credit with some wealthy goblin, and then just buy whatever the hell it is they need. It's more the, top 500 guilds that probably actually need to think about this, because they don't have that same ability to wildly spend. So there's I get your point, but be aware it could actually almost be completely the opposite. Well, world, let's just call them top 5, top 10 guilds. They couldn't care less about all of this sort of stuff right now. All of their preparation goes into stuff that money can't buy. E.g. getting their characters like pre-leveled, getting like a wide spread of characters available. They do the things that money can't buy. If money can buy it, then they'll just buy it, and they'll pay their bills after. Is TSM better than Auctioneer? Not necessarily, no. They both, well, TSM is more of a full auction house suite of add-ons these days. Auctioneer is pretty predominantly just for the auction house. It does a few other little things, but nothing overly fancy. They both definitely have their pros and cons. Hello. Oh, ha! This is my 5th level 80 then. That's interesting. What it might be worth doing is going and getting this dude at least some 550 item level gear, because at 475 I'm going to get absolutely nuked anytime I get in combat. Auctionator better integrates with Craft Sim and is way better for shopping. Yeah, the Auctionator is, yes. The little shopping list you can make are quite cool. There's a new sniper module in TSM. There's pros and cons to both of them. You'll often find people run both, so get comfortable using both, because they're both good at different things. Mires from Echo has done a lot of professions on stream. Well, yeah, some of them will do it. Some of you got to remember that these world first guys, they actually play the game for fun as well, believe it or not. And if that's if that appeals to them. That's annoying. When you do the capture mines and then it doesn't give you the goodies. Returning play to the game, tried using TSM for my crafting and found that it has issues deciding what rank of materials to use for crafting. Is there a way to set what ranks my crafts use, or is it a problem with TSM? With crafting, you don't want an add-on doing your crafting for you. You can use add-ons to give you an indication to whether something is worth doing, whether that something is profitable, what it's going to cost you to craft a certain thing, roughly what you might make by selling that thing. That's where add-ons can definitely help you, but you don't really want an add-on to do it for you, which is kind of what TSM's strength was in the past. The game just doesn't work like that anymore. You're going to want to change the materials to optimize your crafting costs. This is actually where an add-on like Craft Sim is very helpful. Craft Sim can quickly do some of the maths for you. Once again, it does the maths. It helps you make your decision, but it doesn't do the thing for you. So yeah, in essence, I wouldn't try and make an add-on actually do any of your crafting, because it's just not going to work very effectively, especially when you get hyper optimized in something and you might want to start swapping out your tools. You might want to put a resourcefulness tool on to craft some things. You might want to put a multi-craft tool on to craft some other things. This is where add-ons are never going to really do the job for you properly. I've been breaking my head behind this. Yeah, just remember one simple rule. Add-ons are there to make your gameplay easier. If you look at something and it's far too much like hard work, it probably is. Do you have any guides for setting up sniping on TSM? I don't. They've recently changed their sniping module, and if I'm honest, I haven't looked at it since they've changed it. I'm aware it's better than it used to be. They've changed their search algorithm to be faster. What exactly they've done to change it, though, I don't know. So maybe if you do look at it, consider sharing your knowledge. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure exactly how TSM Sniper now operates, but I'm quite sure they took some influence from Point Blank Sniper, so. Which is very efficient and very fast. Nowadays, though, with a region-wide auction house, there's going to be a new new level to this meta, I'm quite sure of it, with everything going region-wide and warbands doing warband things. I'm convinced at some point this expansion will see a level up to the sweaty, degenerate sniping, multi-realm sniping setups people will have. I'm not entirely sure how people will do that, short of like literally having an account running on every realm. Otherwise, you're sort of you're waiting for the API to update, which means you might only be getting an update every hour. That's not very snipey, in my opinion. That gives people 59 minutes head start. So I'm sure there's more efficient ways to be doing that without a billion accounts, but I don't know what people are going to do to figure that out. And I also wonder, by that point, are you actually having any fun doing this? I know it's kind of like, it's cool to amass that much, but no, go away, you stupid bubble. No. What? Stupid cat. Stuck in combat. Thoughts on Stormdust when the season starts? Everybody who's going to be upgrading their gear using Harbinger crests. There's a lot of people that have a lot of Stormdust in their bags. This is the exact same scenario. As we mentioned a minute ago, you always have to account for the fact that what's on the auction house may not necessarily be what exists. I think Stormdust disenchanting has been quite publicly hyped over the last few weeks, and I suspect there's been a lot of disenchanting going on and probably a lot of stockpiling of Stormdust going on. Now, that's not to say lots won't be needed, but I think there's an awful lot out there that you don't see day to day right now. And what's more than likely to happen is the season will start and everybody will dump their materials on the auction house, assuming a massive influx of people buying it. And I also suspect what we will probably see is a crash of materials early after reset, so like Wednesday, Thursday. I suspect we'll see quite a crash of materials as people dump all their stocks, and then it might take a few days, maybe even a week, or maybe even 2 weeks for the dust to like really settle on those. Let's see what happens. I learned throughout Dragonflight that most of the speculation happens actually before a patch even exists. And most of the price manipulation also happens before a patch even exists. By the time the patch turns up and all of that magically squirreled away stock hits the actual auction house, it tends to have a negative effect on the price rather than the positive effect that everybody seemed to assume it might. What I have, yeah, thaumaturgy, or, well, yeah, alchemists are going to do, and have been doing, a fine job of keeping balance with the materials. And I do wonder how that's going to play out long term, because it fundamentally means that there's no way for a material to like completely tank. And I somewhat worry about this from a overall market perspective, because if bots can do bot things and are practically guaranteed no less than half. Oh my god, it's about to go boom. Somebody overpowered it. If bots can do bot things and are guaranteed basically never less than half market rates for stuff, that's not good news. Generally, when every single material is somewhat synergistically linked to another, in a non-corrupt world, that's great. That means anybody can go out farming at any point, gather up some materials, and probably sell them for a reasonable amount. But what that also means is that bots have bots don't have the ability to hyper crash markets like they could previously. Because if a bot tanks the price on a certain material, alchemists will just come along and convert it to other materials. I don't know. I don't know what the long-term effect of this is going to be. It still intrigues me, though. At the moment, it doesn't matter. Because as long as you spend your time doing even anything remotely constructive, you're making gold right now. I don't like this area. This area is a pain in the ass to gather in. Lucrative as it is, it's just annoying to gather in. Sell what you can, get sales for more than you bought for. If it's clear the market is in a nosedive, to cut your losses. The question is too generic. It depends on the item. Yeah, I mean, I try not to speculate too much on any given markets. I've long since developed the thought that the more that content creators speculate on any single market, the more of a bubble it produces. Tinderbox. I am convinced Tinderbox is just a Goblin bubble. I'm convinced there's not really an issue with Tinderboxes. It's just that, you know, they were the highest value item in the first few days. Like, you know, some hype around them started, and they had a big individual ticket price. And I'm somewhat convinced that Tinderboxes is just a Goblin bubble. Self-created problem, one that I'm not really convinced exists all that much. Especially when I also see people very aware that Blizzard's likely to change the drop rate on them if it gets too sweaty anyway. It's like, well, surely that should be your indication to leave that market the hell alone. Tinderboxes might drop like crazy in high delves as well. I'm not convinced delves, even high-level delves, are going to be that lucrative from a material standpoint. It's kind of cool that Bran can run around and collect some materials and stuff in them, but I don't see them as a source of materials. It's, you know, it's the same with dungeons. Most of the time, they make sure that, sure, there's some materials to be had from dungeons, but they never try to make the source of farming a material a dungeon or an instanced version of a piece of content. They learnt that. They learnt that many years ago. All it does is incentivize bots to hide in them. Do we think they'll buff Null Stone drop rate? Null Stone drop rate looks fine. It looks fine. There isn't an inherent problem with the rate of Null Stones, I don't think. Yeah, there's going to be a big call on their need. There's going to be a big influx of people that decide that they need Null Stones. They go into a fair few useful things. But I don't think there's as much like there's a problem with them. Where the hell are the ore nodes around here? Is it distracting me by flipping? Yeah, it is. Because this is the, where's it gone? This is the treasure, isn't it? Not the, where is it? There it is. Tinderbox drop rates will get bumped when the thread complaining about enchant prices hits 200. Yeah. Yeah, that's likely the case. Oh, I know about glittering glass, yeah. I was very tempted, you know. I was super tempted to go big on rank 3 vials. The only reason I didn't is because you've been able to min-max rank 3 vials, in my opinion, way too early. You wanted rank 3 vials to be done in a way where... Okay, that's not going to be easy to get. You wanted rank 3 vials to come online at about the same time as rank 3 potions and flasks. Whereas, unfortunately, you've been able to mass produce rank 3 vials for quite a while now. And, they are expensive because of glass, though. There's no denying. Right, this place is also annoying to farm in. I don't want to have to be rounding up and killing clusters of mobs just to get a single node. Oh, God, doing this in the dark? Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, if I pull this off, this is masterclass. Yo! Till September 2nd or 3rd, the glittering glass was really cheap. Then I guess some alchemists got their tools to guarantee rank 3 vials. They needed a lot of glass. Jewelcrafters, you mean, yeah. South side is much better. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure the south side feels a lot easier to deal with. This bit up here seems like a real pain in the ass to gather in. Yeah, it really wasn't that many points to get specialized in vials. I kind of wanted it to be 30-40 points more. So I actually went well, as you can tell, I went the prospecting route instead. And actually, I kind of, one bit of a boo-boo I made on my Jewelcrafter was that I put 10 points more in shaping than I needed. As that unlocked the second node here so that I could go into glasswork, but I then backed out of wanting to go vials and has now left me 10 points short on prospecting, which is just a little annoying. Now I can technically still get 10 knowledge points, but I need to get Hallow Fall to Renown 14. And I just haven't been bothered with a rep grind, so this basically means I'm not prospecting Iron Claw yet, which is why I'm burning through red ore. What's the weak ore down the left-hand side? This one. Don't you need 100 plus 40 in Jewelcrafting for vials? Yeah. The 100 plus 40 build is actually surprisingly easy. If you've at least been keeping up with your profession, you should have 100 plus 40 build. Even, dare I say, you could probably have it without doing any shuffling whatsoever. With the amount of knowledge points and Artisan's Acuity that's come through these patron orders, your 100 plus 40 build is is quite easy to get. Now, this kind of means that you have a second crafting profession that you're funneling the Artisan's Acuity from. If you were doing patron orders on 2 crafting professions, feeding it all into one, I think it's not been overly difficult, I don't think, to get you 3 blue tools. 3 blue tools without shuffling as a blacksmith last weekend, totally possible. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it hasn't been that hard. My numbers are a bit jaded because I have shuffled on some of these characters, well, all of these characters. You're only prospecting rank 1 at the moment. Yeah, the price of rank 2 hasn't really been that attractive to me. Now, your yield is increased with rank 2 ore. And I'm not actually I'm not doing anything with the gems right now anyway, because I kind of suspect that we might see a run on the need for the raw mats soon. But so I could realistically have done quality 2 instead, but it didn't feel like it made much difference, honestly. Easiest patron orders I got are either tailoring or leatherworking. Tailoring generally has been pretty... Well, obviously, tailoring had the advantage that cloth ended up being basically free because of all the farming. So both leveling and the patron orders to craft the items with tailoring have been kind of nice. Not been too problematic. Same, I got all 3 blue tools and even 2 of the skill books. No shuffling needed, only feeding Artisan's Acuity from tailoring orders. Yeah, tailoring's turned out to be quite a good, like, secondary profession for that. One thing I'm probably going to look at start doing is setting up the second professions on some of these characters. Now, oh, I think I need to kill this rare for the rep. Aha, I did. Nice. I might go... I'm not sure what to do with the second profession slots on most of my characters. There was part of me that was like, well, maybe I just give them all skinning and we just do, you know, a round of daily beast hide kills, what they call beast fangs. I'm still somewhat convinced that that's worthwhile. Alternatively, because I've gone big on tailoring from the perspective of exquisite weaver cloth bolts, because I now can mass produce those at top quality. Not only can I mass produce them at top quality, I can also produce them at practically min-max rates. I was thinking about maybe just throwing tailoring on all of my alts as well, because I don't want the second profession slot on each of these characters to be anything too serious. I just want it to be something that... I almost want them to be concentration builds. Something that I don't have to then worry about Artisan's Acuity on. I can still funnel all Artisan's Acuity into the mains to get them second spare tools and maybe even like all the recipes and such. Hang on. It sounds very much like I'm not prospecting anymore. Anybody here dare to do the 600 Acuity Lotto? Yeah, I wasn't going to waste characters on doing that. That seemed too... The chances are good. The chances are good that you get a... like, if you pull a raid recipe, you could probably list it and sell it for gold cap. But I don't have that many alts that I'm willing to waste them, if that makes sense. If I'm going to actively use an alt, I want to actually be able to use it properly. If you get the setting of the weapon enchant, you're pretty golden. Yeah, I don't disagree, but it's in the same vein of saying, well, if you walk you know, if you walk into a casino and put $1 in a one-armed bandit and get the jackpot, you're golden. Yeah, of course, but what's the likelihood of that happening? Basically, 0. I am in a position where I don't need to take the gamble. If the recipe turns up, I have the ability to just buy the recipe. You know, you got to look at it that way. Zanza bought the yeah, I know he bought the tailoring one. If I'd have had the ability to, there was a second one. So there was a second one of those that I almost considered picking up, and then I'd have just, you know, I'd have whispered Zan and be like, right, let's just fix the price on these. But my tailoring is also, well, same for him, honestly. My tailor's not perfectly set up to make them. I also wouldn't be able to guarantee them at quality 3, which I think loses, for me personally, it loses a lot of value in buying the recipe if I can't actually guarantee it at quality 3. If you farm Alderman and get Pendulum of Doom, you're golden as well. Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody can see what's at the what the jackpot is. The reality is the likelihood of you getting that jackpot. $2 mil seemed kind of cheap for that recipe. Well, you never know. You never knew who actually got it. This is the thing, right? You don't know if somebody did cycle through a bunch of characters to try and get it. Did somebody actually fish for it? Or was it some random Joe that just, you know, decided to buy one of the bags? You know, it's entirely possible. Like, the law of averages states that there's probably enough people that just bought the bag rather than just out of pure bad decisions. You know, most of the time you'll find people that win the lottery are not people that play the lottery every week. They're people that, like, they buy one lottery ticket and it just literally wins. Second paid 5 mil, he's likely going to regret that now. Well, unless he's got the ability to guarantee it at quality 3. That was the only thing. If my tailor had the ability to guarantee it at quality 3, I'd have gone and bought it for 5 mil, no questions asked. And I'd just be, you know, Zan can have the quality 2 market, I'll have the quality 3 market. But my tailor wasn't totally set up for that. So, plus it was the weekend. I didn't really want to sit crafting and selling and doing all of that stuff. I got the ability to play the game a little bit yesterday, but not too much. We are still tinkering away in the background. God, I timed that nearly perfectly. Weapon enchant already sold for gold cap. Yeah, that's not a surprise. First to market on a weapon enchant's quite a fun one. As you'll actually find that something like a weapon enchant is something that crazy people will enchant gear before they even get their actual piece of gear. Weapon enchant would have been a fun one. Interestingly for me, my enchanter, I have actually technically, this kind of annoyed me that one turned up for golden cap and I didn't see it, because I did actually have my enchanter in a position. My enchanter's not spent a single knowledge point, so that if I came across the recipe for that, I could hop on it. But I've also not really played my enchanter that seriously, meaning I don't think I've even done a full shuffle on them, so I could probably if I got the recipe on at a good price though, I could pivot pretty hard into that recipe pretty fast. I wanted to at least keep the, keep the doors open on that opportunity. Gone. Just
let's make sweet profit together.
Muppet with the Prime, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh no, the big thing's gonna... Oh no, I've aggroed the big thing as well. Flipping now. And now my pet's dead. Well, that's a good time to peace out of this whole thing, isn't it? Right, I want to point out that when people say farming's worth nothing, that on this dum-dum level farming character, with not a single Artisan Acuity spent on tools or knowledge points or nothing, has done 20k in the last hour. Whilst I've been streaming, whilst I've been chatting, whilst I've been pissing about. If you're still getting 20k an hour now, that's going to be an easy 40 next week when all the farmers disappear. And that's without any optimization at all. You could double that by 1, knowing what you're doing, and 2, having, at least some knowledge points spent in the right area. And I also point out, I've done all of this at the same time as prospecting probably 20,000 ore, so double win. Do we know if the supply bugs drop recipes 100%? No, they don't. There's a chance for a recipe. I think Zan went through about 42 characters, I think it was, he said, before... Well, he didn't even get the recipe himself. He just bought the recipe in the end. Are there certain breakpoints to make money from prospecting? Prospecting is about stacking as much resourcefulness as you possibly can. And just like always, about buying your ore as cheap as you can get it. It's more, prospecting ends up very quickly being more about your material price than it does anything else. If you can keep your map price down, you're good. I mean, obviously that also requires you to have your tools, your knowledge points, everything in place as well. I'm not selling any of my prospecting stuff right now, though. I'm getting the processing done. So then when Jewelcrafting shows demand for something, I've already done the time-consuming aspect of it. This is usually the thing that slows people's profits down with Jewelcrafting, is they see that something profitable, then they go and do it, and by the time they've gone and done it, the market's gone back to normal. And worse still, they then have a... the market's gone even further in the opposite direction, and so they take everything that they've just done and they dump it. So, doing some of it ahead of time and sitting on the materials is not a bad idea. Do I get to loot this as well? After this wave of fellas has spawned. I've not done this treasure one when somebody else looted it. Does everybody get to loot the bag? Ah, everybody does get to loot the bag. Really nice. 10 blobs. Are you crushing the gems too, or are you just prospecting them? I'm just getting the prospecting out the way now. That's the thing that takes the majority of the time. Get that out of the way. I'll sit on the mats for a little while till I need them. I'm guessing that to get crushed gemstones at rank 3, you need to use rank 3 bismuth. Yes. Yes, it's partly the reason why bismuth at Q3 is so expensive. Other than the fact that you don't get that much of it. Look. Is it always worth spending your concentration to fulfill Artisan's Acuity work orders? For as long as you need Artisan's Acuity, yes. You probably want to make sure that you, especially if you're not doing profession shuffling, you want to make sure that any Artisan's Acuity that comes through patron orders, you have concentration spare to use on. Where's the herb? Aha. But of course, remember that gaining more Artisan's Acuity is a finite thing. It's a thing where you will get to the point where you instantly then really don't need any more of it. So the concept with Artisan's Acuity really was that you want to get as much of it as you possibly can, as quick as you can. To get yourself ahead of other players. Because being ahead of other players is what gives you a better profit margin. The reality right now is that there are lots of players out there that have very comfortably got past the point where they need Artisan's Acuity anymore. This is why recommending every single day that goes past, Artisan's Acuity loses its value. And it's so weird to say that before the season's even begun, but since we've had nearly 3 weeks preparation time before the season even begins, dedicated crafters are already min-maxed and are just now farming knowledge points to fill out their spectries every week. Yeah, some professions definitely have more, like tailoring, for example, has got flipping millions of recipes that need Artisan's Acuity. for all of their bags. If you want to collect all of the bags on your tailor, you're going to need, I think it's like 1,500 more Artisan's Acuity just for the bag recipes. Could be even more. So yeah, tailors are going to need it forever, but the only thing I will say is these camouflaged herbs are actually, well, by design clearly, but camouflaged herbs are really goddamn difficult to actually spot. I don't know if it's just my eyes, but I can never see them. I mean, that is the nature of camouflage technically, but considering you can only see them with a potion, they could have at least made them a bit clearer once you've used the potion. It's going to be interesting to watch NA markets tomorrow. Yeah, Team EU gets a bit of an advantage there. Team EU gets the luxury of seeing what happens over on Team NA first. It's so funny though to me to see just how different the markets play out. I mean, I know Team NA doesn't want to hear this and probably won't believe it, but NA has always painted a picture of being way easier to make gold on. From the perspective of that markets are never like tanked anywhere near to the same level. That there is very often like wide open gaps in the markets. Like I said, it's a little hypothetical because I don't have that much experience playing on Team NA, but whenever you open something like the Undermine Journal or Oribos Exchange, whatever you want to call it, and you start poking around, how do I skill up to craft Deadly Amber in Jewelcrafting? What are you crafting Deadly Ambers for? Would be my first question. What in the world are you trying to make these better for? Patron orders? Oh, don't start wasting knowledge points on getting better at patron orders. Use concentration. Just use concentration. Use concentration or a better engraved gem cutter. Yeah, you absolutely don't want to be speccing into making those better. That's a massive waste of knowledge points. Does Loot Appraise attract disenchanted stuff? I don't know. No idea. Can you explain like I'm 5 how skill affects prospecting rank 1 ore? Well, the more of it you have, the more you get. Realistically, for Jewelcrafting and prospecting specifically, Your base skill doesn't affect it that much. Your base profession skill up here doesn't affect it that much. You want your blue tools, so you want the 100 plus 40 build anyway. You want your blue tools up here because that's going to give you access to the most amount of resourcefulness, which is your biggest contributing factor that you can deal with here. From then on, it's just about filling your prospecting nodes. And then knowing the maths of what you're going to get if you prospect X amount of stuff. This skill up the top, specifically for prospecting, doesn't seem to really make any difference. Just remember though, even if you're speccing into prospecting right now, that might be the first thing you do. That's not to say that's the only thing you're going to do with Jewelcrafting. This is why my biggest recommendation for most was to get your 100 plus 40 done. Because that's going to give you flat skill for any time you craft anything. It's going to make your patron orders easier to fill, which will mean getting knowledge points will be easier. Even once you've, like for the example of prospecting, once you have finished speccing into prospecting, then you're going to need that skill instantly as soon as you start looking at crafting and selling anything else. Whether they be vials or you go into stonework or whatever the case may be. So the simple answer is just go get your 100 levels. As you will ultimately need it anyway. Try not to take shortcuts. The War Within has proven so far to be an adventure with professions that doesn't suit shortcuts. You either do it gung-ho, wholeheartedly, throw everything at it, or you take that decision very early on to take the lazy man approach, which is hyper optimizing for low grade items by spending the bare minimum you can get away with and by using concentration on cooldown to maximize your profits. So there's only really two viable ways you play with professions right now: hardcore lazy man or hardcore sweaty goblin. If you sort of sit in the middle, you're just going to be frustrated because you're not actually going to be. If you sit in the middle, you've got the problem that you didn't spec into the lazy man approach, so you've spent a bunch of gold leveling stuff up, but you didn't spend enough gold, you didn't do the full shuffle, so you're not actually at the point where you're min-maxed and competing in the top markets. There's that middle cluster that's kind of gross, and there's no easy way to get out of it. It's not great from a design perspective that that's the case, but this is where having an understanding of how the professions worked before you got going with them would have been a big advantage. I saw this very quickly by testing and playing a lot on the beta, but I still don't think that that's like the best design decision. A lot of people have very clearly, a lot of people have looked at like the shuffle approach and have spent their spec points and built in a way that is working towards being the best at something. But the way you take advantage of that is by doing it first, and by doing it early, and by doing it quickly. And even I'm sort of slow in a lot of my professions. This is why I'm focusing a lot more on a couple of professions now, even though I started leveling up all of them. I'm slowly niching down to like more specific professions, ones where I've kind of got the advantage and can take see some positive returns from it. which, if you're smart, you'll be able to see why I'm doing Jewelcrafting. Do you regret not just focusing on, say, 4 professions? In a way. I don't think I spread myself too thin, but I wanted to see what all of the markets had to offer. So I don't really mind. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. Yeah, I don't really object to going in on all of them, because I still have. The thing is I can quickly pivot and I can quickly adjust. So, but yeah, if I was to let's say we could roll it back 3 weeks, and I was to go at it again, I would probably put less effort into Jewelcrafting, because prospecting, or at least so far, I should clarify that a lot of this is only based upon the fact that the season hasn't begun. Prospecting hasn't been as profitable as I thought it might be. That prospecting could have definitely been more profitable if I'd put more focus on it in the first couple of days. There was a huge opportunity in prospecting that I only really caught the tail end of. This was before most people had figured out all their prospecting rates and stuff. But I would have probably gone a little bit harder into that market to begin with, and then dropped it almost entirely very quickly. And I probably wouldn't have done a full profession shuffle on my Jewelcrafter. But I don't know how many of you remember, my Jewelcrafter was in limbo for quite a few days, where I hadn't taken any knowledge points. And I saw this market emerging with prospecting, and I jumped on it, but I only got into it late, so I would probably have changed how I played with Jewelcrafting a little bit. Generally, I think tailoring's been okay for me. What I would have probably changed with tailoring is that I probably wouldn't have spec'd so heavily into unraveling. Little did I realize just how readily available the bolts were going to end up being. The fact that bolts for a good few days were like hyper aggressively farmed to the point where they were like a fraction of their crafting cost, which nuked my first week's profitability from crafting. That said, I made out like an absolute bandit when they nerfed the siege, because I'd already bought, I think, about 200,000 bolts at about 5 gold a piece, and then just sold them all out for about 30. So in a way, I did all right from that. People who've done the shuffle done it for nothing, in my opinion. With how much acuity we're getting from work orders via the NPCs, my enchanter's maxed out on ring enchants and has 3 blue tools. Well, there's... This is the thing. People who did the shuffle didn't do it for no reason. The people who did the shuffle... See, this was the difference, right? A lot of people jumped on the shuffle as something that that all crafters should do, and I tried very, very much to try and persuade people away from doing it, because it wasn't the right answer for most players to do. But people don't necessarily want to hear that, and a lot of people didn't want to hear that. Like, the shuffle was at its most powerful for the first 4 days of early access, where you could get your professions to a point where you could absolutely fly, right? And then patron orders turned up, and you could have finished your shuffle within a day, and you could have had no care for Artisan's Acuity for the past 2 weeks. And during that 2-week period, you could have stood there for best part of 12 hours a day if you wished, crafting, making an easy 100k gold an hour. So you could be making far in excess of 1 million gold a day quite easily. So that it's not really fair to say the shuffle was not worth it. It's just the execution of the shuffle. But it's the early bird catches the worm. And it's also entirely possible to have done the shuffle and then ended up in a market that wasn't worth it. This is that is a prime example for my Jewelcrafter. My Jewelcrafter who's tinkering away right now, prospecting. There was really no added value by me doing the shuffle on this dude. But by the time that I chose to go into prospecting, I'd kind of already done it, so... But then there were some other markets where if you'd done the shuffle nice and early, you've literally been printing money for 2 weeks now. Literally just been printing it for as long as you can be, as long as you were willing to have your account on crafting, you've just been printing. What do you think holds the most stable? Oh god, no idea. Stable and WoW economies are not really two words that go together very well. The crazy things do happen, and crazy things can be manipulated to happen a lot easier in this game as well. Went pretty hard on shuffles early, but I found that there was not enough demand. I could make more Q3 crushed gemstones than I could ever sell. Maybe other markets would have been better. Well, you say that, but the crushed gemstone market wasn't restricted by processing time. Yes, you're right. You could make a lot of Q3 gem dust very, very fast. But as you probably also know, the supply of materials to do it at a cost-effective point dried up pretty quick as well. So it wasn't really restricted by its processing time. Whereas other things like inscription and milling and ink production, for example, are laborious and incredibly tediously slow to do. Disenchanting is another one. This is why disenchanting, I think, has been pretty lucrative overall for people, because there's no way to circumvent the just slow nature of it. There's no getting around the fact that you just have to stand there for hours and hours and hours pressing a disenchant macro. And more importantly, with disenchanting, you then theoretically can't be doing anything else at the same time, which is a big downside to many players. Not everybody wants to spend their first 2 weeks of the expansion standing in one spot going click, 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 click. You're practically playing cookie clicker at that point, without the AFK benefits of cookie clicker. GodCase78 with a prime, thank you very much, welcome in. See, that's meant to be one that was on my list. Is it just not updating because I haven't opened this for a while? Maybe. But yeah, the shuffle was definitely worth it for a lot of people. The execution of the shuffle was almost more important than knowing how to do it in the first place. a base understanding of the profession system would have meant that you could have figured it out pretty quickly anyway. But it was then using the shuffle in a market that was the most useful. If you shuffled to then only spec into like work orders and gear crafting, you've basically wasted a lot of gold. But if you'd spec'd into shuffling, that could have given you a massive improvement on your cost of crafting something over the majority of the rest of the player base. And then that's a thing that's sold on the region-wide auction house. I'm going to be honest, if I'd gone, with hindsight being what it is, I'd have gone way harder on inscription. Way harder on inscription. I think milling and ink production could have been way more lucrative. As it stands, I've done very little of it. I've got the ability to guarantee stuff at quality 3, but it would have probably been more lucrative to not go the quality 3 route. But you know, hindsight. It's wonderful when you have it.
Let's make sweet profit together.
Let's run away, run away, run away, run away. Vindal with a prime as well. Thank you very much. Welcome in. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away. This character doesn't have flipping feign death on my pet, so I just have to wait for him to die again. Poor kitty. Do you think you make a token's worth of gold in a month with a concentration build? If you only want a token's worth of gold, get out there, do some farming. Don't mess. Yeah, there's no need for messing around with crafting professions when farming is so ridiculously lucrative. If you're only after like game time level gold. Play with the crafting professions because you enjoy playing with the crafting professions. Yeah. Like, why take all of... If you're only after making a small amount of gold, there's no real reason to take the risk. Seems like I can't level past 70-ish, only being spec'd into prospecting. You're still going to want to probably pick up one of the blasphemite recipes and craft that to 100. I would imagine by this point the recipes are not that expensive. You can, in theory, also farm those recipes yourself. Moreover, I don't expect it's going to be too expensive because I reckon blasphemites are certainly not as expensive as they were to begin with. Oh, hang on, there's no sound in the background. That means you're not doing anything. Some markets have just been slightly either too fast or too... Well, probably... Yeah, there's been a few markets that I think have been too fast. That you were able to min-max those markets way too early relative to when people actually needed the stuff. So like vials, for example, with Jewelcrafting, you could pretty much be making quality 3 vials almost, if you wanted to make a character, you could probably be making quality 3 vials by the end of the day. Which was a bit of a problem because there was clearly going to be quite a delay before alchemists really wanted them. And it's kind of put you in a bit of a weird position if you went that sort. There's a few markets like that. I can't think of many others off the top of my head, but... you think the fact that Dragonflight had all of the profession system changed completely created a lot more opportunity for gold than the War Within, where the system is already known? Or since it's a completely new market, it's somewhat equivalent? Well, although at face value they look the same, right? Dragonflight and the War Within look very similar. The reality is how they actually play is very different. And yeah, people's knowledge on how the system works is part of it. But I kind of think that if you're the kind of player that's going to figure this stuff out, you figured it out anyway. Most players who want to will figure all of this stuff out. I think in terms of barrier to... the bar's definitely been raised for the War Within, for starters. But on the flip side, whilst the bar has been raised for those who are looking to make a lot of gold, the barrier to entry has also been massively lowered. So by that I mean that you can basically not know what the hell you're doing with your professions, and you can use concentration to once or twice a day make you something that's worth you pressing the button for. So nearly anybody in that regard can get into the profession side of the game without big goblins just completely nuking the entire markets for everybody. So it depends kind of what your perspective is going into it in the first place. Much like raiding, you know, there's an LFR mode. There's an LFR mode in crafting now, which there wasn't really in Dragonflight. There's the LFR mode of crafting, where you basically don't worry about Artisan's Acuity or knowledge points or any of that. You level it up exactly however the hell you want, and you just craft things with concentration at a higher quality, using cheap materials. Like, that's the LFR approach. You get to see crafting, you get to make a little bit of gold. You're clearly never going to become a, you know, you're never going to set the world on fire with your results, but it was a, you know, enjoyable system. That's kind of the LFR mode of crafting, which didn't exist in Dragonflight. You had to know what you were doing in Dragonflight. And even if you did know what you were doing, you then had to then be doing it better than other people. Your only advantage was other people's ignorance in Dragonflight. Your advantage was that you were just hoping that other people didn't know what they were doing. And in many cases, they didn't. Even people like me went into Dragonflight relatively blind. It was very clear very quickly that there was some aspects of the profession system that were just really not balanced very well in Dragonflight. Like, if you stacked inspiration, you just won, right? There was no ifs or buts about that. In Dragonflight, if you stacked inspiration nice and early, you put yourself in the position to win. You were able to make things more reliably at a higher quality than others could, which in turn meant that your cost of materials went into better places. And it was, in that regard, it was quite simple. But it was very easy to accidentally not do that, because it wasn't really that intuitive as a system. Hang on, we're not prospecting. Right, even I'm getting bored of farming by this point, so we might go drop off our materials. We might look at buying a set of gear. I need some, I need something better than this 475 gear that I'm running around in. Alright. What's the item you think of holding for season 1, or a tip for me to spend 2.5? I can't tell you what to spend your gold on. Whenever it comes to investments in this game, you want to only spend as much gold as you're willing to completely lose, for starters. Secondly, you want to make sure that you put yourself in the position where you have 2 exit strategies. If the only reason you buy something is because you think it's going to be worth more tomorrow, that's probably a bad investment. What you want to be able to do is maybe look at buying up materials that, even if the market doesn't go for, doesn't explode like you guess it might, at least you can use them through your crafting professions to give yourself another option to make gold. Can you use them somewhere that might help you fix a bad investment decision? So the reality is you want to pick up and only play with materials that you know more about. If you're asking some random dude on the internet what you should spend all of your gold on, any answer you get is probably not a good answer. Right, let's throw all of this on the auction house. Bunch of random ass stuff. We've done the farming, so we might as well get paid. These are the random things you pick up from time to time, like just stray core alloys out of nowhere. Clearly from the wax piles. Now I should just throw all of these materials in the in my war bank, but I'm trying to see just how lucrative my time spent on this character ends up being. So I'm selling it all at market rates whenever I farm it. Even if on my other characters I only go back and buy it later that same day. Seems that people came into the War Within with more knowledge on how to abuse the system, like the AA shuffling, which gives a huge advantage. And for people like me who haven't really realised how much of a difference it makes or had the capital to do those shuffles, have really lost on a lot of the advantage. Well, it's really not that different. It's just the fact that it's more publicly known this time round. The shuffle was very much a thing at the beginning of Dragonflight. It was just far less promoted. And it had a lot less spotlight. And the necessity to do it was less, on the basis of the fact that you could still seek out an advantage based on other people's ignorance. You would still win because nobody else really knew what they were doing particularly well. That's kind of what I mean when I say that it's leveled up. The meta has leveled up. We've had an entire expansions practice with the crafting system, and yes, the strategies have leveled up. But there's way more to it than just that, I think. I definitely think that there is more there is more goings on, I think, this time round with the crafting professions than there were at the beginning of Dragonflight, because we've had so long to play with them. Like, with early access, we're coming up to 3 weeks that we've had to, like, play with these. Which is a long time in the grand scheme of things. 3 weeks where people have been leveling stuff up. 3 weeks where there hasn't really been the strong demand for any of the crafted items. It's of absolutely no surprise to me that a lot of the prices have dipped pretty low. Right, that's most of the materials. What really amuses me is in the time it takes me to list those, I've literally sold most of them, which is fun. So we'll get our spoils from that little haul soon. Sell some trash. And I was going to look at getting this dude just a basic ass set of gear that's not tragic, wasn't I? Just so then when we encounter something in the wild, it doesn't nuke us. A set of trackers toughened something or others. Probably not a bad idea. And cheap to buy. Right. So we can get ourselves a reasonable set of gear for like less than 10k. Probably worth doing just so we don't get squished. Cheap out on the shoulders. Cheap out on the shoulders. Save ourselves a big chunk by going quality 4 on the shoulders by the looks of things for some reason. Probably the same with the gloves. Cheap out a little bit. We're doing this on a... We're playing this character on a budget. The waist will do the same. Alright, that should do us. What did we get there? I mean, I could have just as easily made all of this on another character, but... Considering all of this gear is quite readily available from people leveling professions, it's all good. We could do with an upgraded necklace, a back piece. What do we got here? 561 for less than €1,000. Cloak. Can we get anything on the cheap? 558. 558 for like 300 gold. I clearly didn't buy a chest piece, did I? What looks good here? 561. That'll do. $561 with a socket. 561 with a socket. Boots. Right, we need some jewellery. Oof! Outrageously expensive. Spinner's hoop and a spinner's circle. Are these going to be... What did I buy? I bought a spinner's hoop. Just grab one of these. Trinkets. What are you buying? 558 blues. Greens are 561 and way cheaper. It's all good. We'll get ourselves a Dark Moon deck. One of them. And a spunky warning candle. Go on then. Ranged. Give me a 564 something or other. For 300 gold. Wow, it's never been so cheap to gear up your characters. Never been so cheap to gear up your characters. Bargain. Actual bargain. Yep, you get replacements. Pair of boots. In you go. That was our upgraded necklace. Oh wait, what? Hang on. Dark Moon deck. Spunky warning. Nice. Nice. Instantly 550. That will... Oh no, did we not... Did I not buy? Much better. 560. There we go. 560. For a farming character, that will do. Don't need anything crazy. And that's also some stuff to all this Trail Seeker actually. Trail Seeker anything. You can't vendor the stupid things. You can't disenchant it. Because it's the mop remix gear. Right, there we go. Nice. Right, we're going to leave him be for a little bit. We'll let him sell his auctions. Log him out. Let's actually try and do something a bit more constructive over here. We got most of our well, we didn't get most of our prospecting done at all, did we? But we definitely got some. Let me put my mats in the bank. Engineer seems like a letdown so far. Did anybody really have high expectations of engineering? I mean, Engineering was clearly a... engineering clearly was a one-trick pony in my eyes. You could quite easily have made a bunch of gold off parts though with engineering, I'm pretty sure of it. Okay, that'll do. And let's switch this back to categories so you don't see all the mess. Nice! Well, you see the mess, but at least it looks neat. It's a neat mess. Have I still got... I don't need all the ore on hand, actually. We can prospect it from in here.
My directive is to serve you. Return and
you see the price of spools of dawn and dusk thread? I was buying them 7 gold each. Now they're 60 plus. Oh yeah, a lot of the cloth went up in price when they nerfed the siege. It was being just massively overproduced for a few days and dumped with nowhere for it to go. Now the price is coming back to normal. Where did I get so much ore? The auction house. The auction house. Right, I'm done on this dude, unless I've got any... Have I got any work orders I need to do on this fella? Let's go check Jewelcrafting real quick. Six knowledge points on the amulet. $12,000 gold for a null stone, some marble stone, a vicious bloodstone. All. Oh, you want this at quality 3? Okay, we can do quality 3. Well, knowledge is knowledge. At least I have the recipe. What do I need? Vicious bloodstone is something I don't actually think I own. Most people predict them going up closer to Season 1. They'll have a lot more demand. Well, yeah, the Dawnweave and the Duskweave stuff was mostly for, like, the end-game crafty stuff. Which, of course, up until this point hasn't really kicked in. So there is always a chance. What did I actually need? I need the Bloodstone. I need one of those. Got the null stones, but since I'm here, I'll just buy one anyway. It's easier. And then the 40 marble stone. There we go. Saves me having to fish them out the warbank. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't be taking all of that. Flipping hell. Tinderboxes go up. I've got 250 at an average cost of 2,300 gold. Even if they don't, profit will be made with enchanting. I don't understand why you're not selling them now. If you're making 3 times your initial investment on them, just sell them. Like, there's no reason to be that greedy. There's really what's the why take the risk when you're like tripling your money? There's absolutely no risk holding off when you're 3xing your investments. Take your gold and run. Take your profits, invest it into something else. Go on, please give me a resourcefulness proc. Could definitely do with a resourcefulness proc on this one. Never lucky. It's knowledge points though, innit? Delves will be #1 gearing for casuals, and apparently Tinderboxes drop a bit more in higher tiers too. I love how people are claiming this. We have absolutely no idea if any of that's true. I get your point. More people will be doing delves, but it is nothing more than speculation that they will offer more tinderboxes. And basing market predictions on the casuals is also usually a pretty bad idea. Why is there no multi-craft enchant on tools? I don't know. There wasn't in Dragonflight either. It's clearly a conscious decision. For me, it's a weird one. But I don't mind. Makes the choice easy. Resourcefulness every time. If there is a choice of one, I will take it. I want to give you the Bruto so bad. It's painful watching you run back and forth. One day. One day. Just not this day. Right. Who's this dude? Blacksmithing. Let's go have a little look, see what the blacksmith table has to say today. What you saying, blacksmithing? 8 patron orders? Holy shit. Okay, some of these have got to be within our reach. Ironclaw axe. Gotta be. Gotta be. Money. I need a core alloy. Yoink. Leatherworker's knife. Didn't provide either. What an absolute scumbag. Well, we can make the alloy. I need a null stone from out the war bank then. What? Oh, you need 5 of those. Whoops. I'll put those back then. Which one was it? This one. Start order. Go. Any more? Sanctified steps. Isn't the recipe for this like really cheap? I think the sanctified steps recipe is not that expensive. It might be worth doing this just to hope for a resourcefulness proc on the alloys. It's knowledge points, so I kind of want to do it. I'm going to see what the recipe price is on that.
I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Oh, that doesn't search for the flipping pattern. Sanctified 62,000 gold? Shit, the bed. Alright, well, I guess that's not happening. Is it possible to go get that from somewhere where it's not ridiculously expensive, maybe? Plan sanctified steps. Jesus, it's not particularly cheap anywhere. Damn. It's no cheaper than 50k anywhere. Okay. Well, on that basis then, we're not getting that recipe. I'm not spending 50k just to get 2 knowledge points. Any more. Everforged longsword, but we don't have that recipe either. We didn't go long blades, did we? We went blades, but we didn't go long blades. How many knowledge points? We need to put 10. Wow, you've got to put 10 points in here to unlock either one of these. Well, that's not happening. Okay. Do I want to do this just because it's 30 easy Artisan's Acuity? I'm mostly at the point where I don't care about Artisan's Acuity, but that's so cheap for 30, it's kind of hard not to. Yeah, it seems a bit silly to just let that bypass, doesn't it, really? We could at least use it potentially on a second blacksmithing tool at some point soon. Crystalline powder, 2 alloys. Are you good over there, dog? Coughing and spluttering. Downside of having uber fluffy dogs. She gets hairballs. Iron claw alloy, crystalline powder. Iron claw alloy. Crystalline powder. Ha! Resourcefulness proc on the stupid echoing flux. Alright, whatever. What about these two? Are these cheap enough for me to consider getting them for 10 Artisan's Acuity? Sure. Found my first seam on the map. Can't find it. Well, seams are nearly always in caves, by the way. So you might want to look for a cave entrance somewhere. Go on, resourcefulness proc. Go on, resourcefulness proc. Never lucky. Right, sure. Let's go grab our spoils. Take a little look at the market prices, see if there's any desire to craft anything today. Very tempted at this point to just pre-craft a bunch of shit regardless of what the market says. You can't see, but my dog's having a fit with her bed. Hey, you being silly? Restless, aren't you? Too fluffy. Too fluffy, too hot. She's old, bless her. Right, blacksmithing. All the points, all the points, all the points. $28, still missing 12 points in Ever-Burning Forge. Have I got any first-time crafts or anything missing on blacksmithing? Profession equipment. Yeah. I could always do a recraft on my own. Maybe. Why did I not make it myself? I know why I didn't make it myself, because I'm not very good at making them. That actually means recrafting it's pretty dangerous, because I'll recraft it to be shit. So we'll leave that one alone. Skinning knife, master's hammer. 10 charged alloys, 10 iron claw alloys, 10 sanctified alloys. Okay, now. And it's a cool tool to have, mind, but for 50k. No, maybe we'll just maybe we'll leave that one. Right, let's have a little looky then at... Oh, flipping hell. That's going to do that every time. Let me do a reload. Let's have a little look, see if there's any money in alloys today. The alloy market's been really saturated. Oh my god. Like, if you're not acquiring your flipping bismuth for like a fraction of what it sells for on the auction house, you're just not making alloys.
I have an extended supply of goods for outlanders.
Let's just look at the basic maths to begin with. This is where we can put Craft Sim back on. Although I've not been trusting Craft Sim's prices the last few days on alloys. Right, basic bitch alloys, 340 gold a piece. 340 gold a piece. That means you need to be getting your bismuth cheaper than that. If you're paying 40 gold a piece for your bismuth, you might... there's probably... You can... That's another one. You can probably squeeze some profit out there just if you're trading on them today. I'd point out that the quantity of these is also remarkably slim. Making core alloys, though, and selling core alloys is not usually where you win. You win by upscaling into iron claw alloys. Or the charged alloys. So let's look at it from the assumption that we were to look at making some basic iron claw alloys. 630 gold a piece. 2 alloys... What did we say they were? 350 a piece. That's 700 plus your powder. That's basically free. The iron claw is also basically free. 750 base crafting cost. So this number's not far off. By the time you throw some concentration, by the time you throw some multi-craft and resourcefulness at that, you are probably more than breaking even. Because this isn't taking into consideration the Ever-Burning Forge buff. But that's still really skinny. Really skinny. Charged alloys. Are these any different? Pretty much the same maths goes into these. Yeah, not really too much difference here. Not too much difference at all. Does anybody know of a prospecting calculator? I don't know maths. I wouldn't rely on most calculators even if you find one, because prospecting changes very heavily based upon how much you've spec'd into it. And if you're already full spec'd into Jewelcrafting, then you just need to prospect 5,000 of it and you'll get some simple numbers. Yeah, alloys don't look particularly fun at the moment. However you skin it, they're not looking great. But it's these damn things that people are going to want soon. It's the wrong time of it's the wrong part of the week to expect profit on these anyway. Also, the fact that the season hasn't launched clearly doesn't help things. But it's wondering whether I process 5,000 of them, 1,000 of them, just so I've got them ready to sell. Equally, when you actually look at the quantities of these, there's not that many knocking about. How many Ironclaw alloys even are there? Like, literally a few thousand. Which, yes, while at 635, they're not very attractive right now. The entire market is 2 million gold on those. There's with only 3,000 on the market, like, they could go in an afternoon. For a region-wide auction house, there is really not that many of any of this. There's really not that much. Look at the amount of stuff that goes into the crafted gear, right? Look how, like, 8s, 6s for single pieces of gear, 12. Just Ironclaw alloys alone, that's like enough for a couple of hundred people to craft a piece of gear. Like, there's literally nothing here. Literally nothing here. Hey, sanctified alloys go into like nearly everything. And in big numbers as well. And like 3,000 sanctified alloys. It's like nothing. And this is weird. What's going on here? What's this one dude doing? Undercutting himself. One dude literally one dude undercutting himself. The entire price of all of these. Just one dude. When you go too far down, it stops giving you the names, but I would assume these are all the exact same fella. So somebody's going ham crafting these. Yeah, somebody else has undercut him and then he's just not cancelled theirs. Or they've not cancelled theirs, I should say, yeah. What is the average commission price for crafting orders? There's really no such thing. If you are looking to buy something, well, you need to negotiate with whoever's you're either crafting for, or yeah, you just need to negotiate the price every time. Yeah, it's these stupid tinderboxes. I'm still convinced this is a bubble. I'm expecting these to be about 3,000 gold a piece as of Wednesday. I reckon we'll see a huge flood of... Just look for a minute. One thing that gives me a really strong indication this is a bubble. They're expensive right now. Look at the sale rate on these motherfuckers, right? Look at the sale rate. Over 70% of them that get listed end up selling. This is a real indication that people are just buying them, and I'm not convinced there's any really many good reasons out there right now for people to be buying them that aggressively. This tells me that people are squirreling them away. They're buying them. Too many people think these are going to be 15k next week, when they could just as easily end up being 2 or 3. That sale rate is far too high on an item of that value. That's not the sale rate of something that's just expensive because it's rare. That's the sale rate of something that's being aggressively squirreled away. People have got sniper auctions, operations on the go for these things. People are snagging them anytime they dip below a certain price. This is why the price on this hasn't really changed for a few days. Look, from literally a week now, for an entire week, they've been about this exact same price because there's been speculation about them. People are like, they're too rare. But look, the number's not changed. The actual supply of them's not really changed. The price of them's not really changed. This is just people snagging them, sitting there snagging them all day long. You'd have expected significant change in the availability numbers if they really were that rare. The time to have bought them was back here, right? You would have bought them back here, or before the hype, before the speculation kicked in. Look, it was nearly an overnight thing, right? People were like, these are rarer than we thought. Somebody buys a bunch of them. Somebody talks about buying a bunch of them. You know, snowball effect. They instantly go up to 6k, and they've sat there ever since. And for about a week now, people are going to be squirreling them away. These are going to be 3k on Wednesday. They're going to be 3k on Wednesday. There's probably somewhere in the range, looking at that, there could easily be 50,000 of these just sat in people's bags ready to sell. Easy. And when they all panic to sell them because they all end up back on the auction house on Wednesday, yeah, I think tinderboxes are a bit of a trap. Welcome in, K-Chat. Agreed. Pretty much what I said in my video yesterday. Way too high of a risk to buy them. Yeah, this is one that's just had a, hype train attached to it for too long. Way too long. Right, do I bother crafting any of these? I don't think it's worth my time right now crafting any of these ahead of time. Making the basic bitch core alloys. It might not be a terrible idea to mass produce a few thousand of these just to get them out the way. Because that's quite time consuming. So then I can reserve ever burning ignition for making the bigger, better stuff. Do we have... Even break-even prices leads me to believe that that's not even remotely close to being true. Quick napkin maths on these are quite simple. The napkin maths is that 10 bismuth, that's 400 gold. Boom, done. But by the time you slap 9% resourcefulness and 13% multi-craft, do you end up getting them for less than 340? It's probably pretty close. Let's craft a few of them. What have we got? Let's buy some bismuth. 40 gold is expensive on the bismuth as well.
Return and peruse my inventory again.
I smell another Dracothis situation, hoping they tank to the bottom. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Unless you've got real diamond hands on these, and the supply is really that treacherously bad. Like, and you're willing to not only watch the crash in a few days, but also you're willing to not only watch the crash, but you're also willing to still hold tight and fight through the crash. But the crash could be pretty aggressive, and it will allow a second wave of people potentially to turn up and go, you know what, I'll have them. Craft 100 quickly to see what the numbers actually end up looking like, because this is definitely wrong. Let's craft 100 and see what we get. That'll show me quite quickly what my resort. Oh no, it's pulling mats not from my bags. Flipping out. Makes it so hard to keep track of resourcefulness when it's not pulling mats from your bag. What do I think about the ringing deeps ingot? Same scenario really. It's gathered by... It exists from treasure farming. Much like every other material, really. Much like every other material, there's going to be a bigger demand for them with probably less people out there collecting them. As soon as Mythic Plus and the raid opens and people stop farming all day long because they'll have something better to do with their time. This happens at the beginning of every expansion. We see way less supply of materials as soon as the season actually starts. Now I want to clarify just the, you know, that does not necessarily mean I have any idea what's going to happen with the price. All I know is that the supply of new materials will dry up. We don't know how many's out there already, and there might already be more than enough supply. We never know. I don't even know how Auctionator's coming up with this price. How does Auctionator think that this costs me 200 gold apiece? It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing here that should state that this costs 200 gold apiece. This is why you should never trust add-ons when it comes to prices. You want to do the napkin maths yourself. Easy money though, speedrunner delve, get one every time. I mean, maybe. I just found out that Auctionator and Bagnator are by the same author. I feel stupid. Have you tried the add-on Journalator? Guess who makes that one? And Syndicator, yep, yep. Plus Mouse definitely has a pattern with his naming structure. Right, I think we've had a few more multi-craft procs than is to be expected here, which is nice. We take that. It's nice to be on the right side of RNG for once. I was expecting somewhere in the region of 120. We ended up with 128. Our resourcefulness also saved us a bunch of gold as well. Now, is that enough to have made up for... I don't know. That still feels about 20% margin, give or take, if we were to go and sell those. The easy way to find this out is if we really want to know. Like I said, napkin maths is win. Napkin maths is definitely a win. Or get reasonably savvy at spreadsheets and do it yourself.
I have calibrated my
if we were to literally sell those all right now, that's 43,000 gold. 43,000 gold plus 6,000 gold. 43 plus 6, let's call that 50 for the sake of maths. Minus 2.5 for your auction house cut, so about 48. What did we spend on the ore? What did we buy 1,000 ore for? Like 40. So we made about 20% margin on those. I think. Where's ledger? Expenses, purchases, bismuth. Yeah, we paid 40 gold a piece for the ore. So, yeah, there's about 20% margin on producing those still.
I have an extended supply of goods for outlanders.
Which means if we can calculate that to be the case... Okay, our oil price has gone up a little bit here. Luckily, we've already got a bunch, so it's fine. We might use the second half of our ever-burning ignition to give it another quick blast. Use our buff up rather than waste it. And then I'll probably just sit on the alloys, actually, to be fair. And if you want to... in fact, no, that doesn't make any difference, does it? Yeah, I probably should. I wonder if... It might be worth AFK crafting these for a little while later today. Just stock up on them so I don't have to do quite so much crafting when the going gets hot. Then there's Point Blank Sniper, the combo breaker. Yeah, it should be Point Blank Sniperator. That would make more sense. Realistically, if I wanted to really mass produce these, I could stock up on mats and then go out and do yet more farming to at least keep the money flowing in. So this dude sold a bunch of his stuff from earlier. Let's have a look. My blacksmith's not even super optimized for this, by the way. Whilst, yes, I do have a lot going on, I am still missing points in here. I'm still missing 12 points in Ever-Burning Forge, which, you know, is maybe not game-breaking, but it's still a sub-optimized setup. But actually, saying that, the amount of points that you need to min-max alloys is 30, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, 148 is that so far? 148 knowledge points so far in blacksmithing. I could do with another 12, so 160 is like full build. Why did I go resource first? Well, one of these is, this is multi-craft, this is resourcefulness. This is per point ever so slightly better, because you gain big stacks of resourcefulness along the way as well. Whilst every individual point is only giving you +3, sure, these big chunks make it ever so slightly more worthwhile, because these, yes, these also give you 3 points per, but they don't give you the big chunks. These are just giving you more bonuses to your ignition stacks and how frequently you can make the things. But yeah, there's another, what's that, 12 points times 3, 12, 24, 36 multi-craft, 36 resourcefulness, which is a little bit. Plus these are only quality 4, not quality 5. So there's still some room for improvement with blacksmithing. Right, well, let's just keep crafting them for us whilst this buff lasts. Wasting an ever-burning ignition on the core alloys, though, feels bad, because the ever-burning ignition has a cost to it itself. And is limited, actually. Probably should be saving some of them for when we end up making Iron Claw charged and sanctified en masse. Right, we've run out of buff now. Let's make sure this isn't capped. Really annoys me how this uses up my Artisan's Acuity, but what are you going to do? Oh, I don't have the blacksmithing bag, do I? Do I have 100? Okay, I need to get the blacksmithing bag when I get 150 Artisan's Acuity. I can't remember what the blacksmithing bag does. What does the blacksmithing bag do? I vaguely remember it being completely pointless, which is why I haven't bothered to get it.
My directive is to serve you.
Ignition satchel. Ever-burning ignition grants an additional 20 ingenuity, resourcefulness, and multicraft. Oh, well, it definitely has some value then. The resourcefulness and the multicraft will definitely help. Oh, well, I need to get one of those then. That's 150 Artisan's Acuity. Okay, we need some more Artisan's Acuity then. We need a second profession. This dude doesn't even have a second profession. I've harvested. Well, I don't know if I've done any shuffles on this character this week. I probably haven't. Could I just quickly go do some mining or something? Let me pick up herbalism real quick. Or is this a really good opportunity to set this dude up on a skinning adventure? This is a really good opportunity to set this dude up for skinning. Where's skinning? No, you're leatherworking. Right. Skinning. Let's get some basic skinning tools.
I have an extended supply of goods for Outlanders.
Hide Seeker's hat. Give me a good one. Hide Seeker's pack. Skinning knife. What the hell's going on here? What the hell's going on here? What do I want on here? Is the beast hide guaranteed, by the way? Do we know if not the beast hide? Well, you know what I mean. The beast fang business. Is that thing guaranteed? Do we need to stack? Perception? I don't know. We'll buy a perception one anyway.
Return and peruse my inventory again.
It is 100%. Okay. Alright, whatever. Oh, did I just buy more bismuth or? Whoops. Oh well. Let's we need to gather some treasures, aren't we? The Artisan's Acuity we gain from this will also then get us our blacksmith bag. Yeah, there we go. That all works. Right. Skinning treasures. I'm trying to remember if I can actually remember. We need 50 knowledge points with skinning. Does this have waypoints to it as well? Oh, it does. Why can't I move you? Why can't I move the TomTom arrow? What's preventing me from moving the tom-tom arrow? Okay, tom-tom arrow stays there then. Skinning knife, 1. So which professions of the ones you set up are you expecting to be the best in the next couple of weeks? The honest answer is I don't know. The reason I set one of every profession up, though, is so that whatever does turn out to be pretty good, I can jump on it. That's kind of the theory for me. Yeah, the honest answer is I don't know that. This is why I spread myself wide to hopefully mean that whichever direction we go, there'll be something. Where's the flight master here?
Welcome, Outlander.
It's a $1 million question, isn't it? You know, what's going to be worth money in the future? Who knows? I mean, when you look at it with with past experience in mind, obviously alchemy is about to explode. Consumables goes through the roof. Alchemy, cooking, people are gonna want to start buying enchants, gems. You know, all the stuff that hasn't done very well up until now is likely to explode in at least demand. At least when everybody starts trying to kill raid bosses and getting better gear. The characters who have got themselves set up for work orders will obviously start to see a lot more people looking to get things crafted. We'll see. It's going to be an exciting few weeks, I reckon. Enchanting should be good, but heavy need for reposting. Obviously, selling your stuff is a different topic. What the more seasoned goblins will tell you is that the best way to not have to cancel scan is to have cheaper prices than everybody else. If you can have cheaper prices than everybody else, you don't need to worry about cancel scanning. Not anywhere near as much. You can post it and forget about it. Where's the two? Why are they not showing on my map? Is the handy notes module not set to? There we go. Profession treasures. That's 3. I need to turn this dude off. Using precious system resources that we don't need. So there's another one down here somewhere, isn't it? Where's the second profession one? Down in here. Alchemy might die out fast though, because if you're a raider and you have an alchemist in your guild and he can mass produce, why would you ever buy flat? Okay, I think you need. If you read that sentence again, you'll realise how many ifs are in that sentence, which basically means no. Alchemy is going to be cooking for a long time. You got to remember that alchemists are still not, or especially alchemists that spec into flasks, still are going to be farming knowledge points like crazy, because there's absolutely no way for an alchemist to produce the best flask at guaranteed quality 3, and there isn't going to be for quite some time. Meaning the market on those, even on a concentration build, a basic flask concentration build for alchemy could be money, because those top tier flasks are gonna keep getting reset, I'm gonna do rank 3 haste flasks next week. Yeah, the single start flasks people are gonna be able to do with reset. Now, there's also some theory going around that there are people out there that have been able to figure out how to squeeze out a little bit more than is probably natural with knowledge points, and are starting to already be able to mass produce them, which by my calculation can only be done if you've done something a little bit naughty. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, 160 points to be able to start producing the basic flasks at quality 3. 180 if you want to be able to mass produce them properly though. And then it's 260, I think it is. It might be 240 for the big flask, which it is and should be outside the reach of anybody right now. So Alchemy's going to be making money for a while. But it's hyper competitive. Alchemy is literally one of the most competitive markets out there. Always is, every time. So it's the same scenario. It might look like it dies out fast, but it probably is only dying out for people that haven't put 110% effort into the profession. Because if you have, well, let's put it this way: nobody makes shit for free. This is the thing that I always try and remind people: nothing's on the auction house because it was free. Somebody's either farmed those materials, and so they've spent time acquiring them, or they've spent their gold buying the materials and their expertise to craft it. So there's nothing there because it's free. So it's profitable for somebody. Just, is that somebody going to be you? Right, there's a second one down here. The question is, where is it? Down here. Do you get acuity from the one-time treasures? No. No, I'm not doing this for the acuity. I just need the points to set up skinning properly. And this is the first time I've done this so far, this expansion, so I'm also kind of desperately trying to remember where all of these are. Moo's knowledge point tracker is this. It's a week or a... I've linked it in chat.
I do not recognize you.
Right, that should be 6 of them. So that means there's two more one-time treasures. Then we can obviously do some skinning just to get some skill points and get our weekly knowledge points. 24, we need like 50, don't we? like 40 in here and 10 in here. That's 50. If we get 24, we've apparently already got 1 from somewhere. Don't know where that came from. So that's going to put us at 25. We need another 25 knowledge points. Oh, we're down here. We should have got the Kej book. Quick, put me down. I need the Kej book. Oh God, I've already gone too far. We're already in flipping. Okay, we'll go back. We'll get the Kej book in a minute. Do you reckon there's catch up on skinning already? If we just do a bit more of it? Not even sure. Alright, tanning reagents over here. Where's the second one? There's usually one in or around Mereldar somewhere. Oh, where's it gone? Flown over it. Is it in here somewhere? There it is. Did a full sweep of world quests on my Skinner yesterday. Didn't even get all the knowledge for the week. It's sucky. Not that I was focused on skinning mobs, but still. Yeah, I've noticed the skinning knowledge points. You have to skin flipping hundreds of flipping mobs. I've played with skinning a little bit already this expansion, but only because I've harvested it for its free Artisan Acuity a couple of times. It wasn't fun though. Definitely wasn't fun. The weekly knowledge points seem to come much faster with herbalism and mining than they do with skinning. Don't know why that is, but I should go and get the Kej book, shouldn't I? Let's think about this. Is it 10 points in here? Is it full build in here? It's full build, isn't it? Supreme Beast Lure. Full build. Okay, yeah, we're going to need the Kej book for 10. I don't have a Arathi at 14 to get the other book. I'm not going to have these just yet. Ooh, this makes it a bit icky to set these up. Oh, gold. Oh, gold. I might not even be able to get enough knowledge points to get this set up before reset. If that's the case, I need to get this done on a few of my level 80s pronto. I guess they assume you'll be skinning in a group since it's possible. Maybe. Maybe. Manthe, I can sell you a secret, a skinning secret for the superb beast fang. A secret, you say? I think you only need it on one to be able to craft the lure for all the alts. Oh, okay. I don't even know where the good skinning spots are, even, to be honest. The fact that I'm taking skinning on these characters is a bit silly. Because I should be doing something more crafting profession. But I kind of didn't want to, in a weird way. 'Cause I kind of didn't want the extra... I want each of these characters to be primarily focused on one thing. And this is just a supplement. This is just purely something to do to at least have the slot being used for something. But it was deliberately not meant to be very optimal for gold making. Just, you know. It was either going to be tailoring for bolts, or it was going to be tailoring for bolts, or it was going to be skinning dailies. Just farm the bees for skinning. Yeah, jump in a bee group, get the skinning done probably quite quickly. Do I actually even have... Always thinking. I left one cash on this dude. Clever. Clever me. Right, we'll swap that out. Was it 565? Pull it from you. 565. So if we go and get this knowledge point book, this is going to be, what's it? This is going to be 10, that was at 25. We'll still be short 15 points. Do the weekly stuff. Okay. Where's the skinning trainer? Probably standing next to the leatherworking trainer wherever he is. Leatherworking trainer, skinning trainer, you. Leftover husks and how to take them apart. Skinning knowledge, there we go. Yoink. Is that then... Where'd it go? Right, 15 points. There's 5, 6, 7... up for grabs. 8 if I do the inscription book. Okay. I don't actually think I can get the 50 in one go. Unless... No, I don't think I can get the 50 in one go. Sun was gentler, the grass was greener, the USSR was still up. What in the world? Getting my Alchemy alt ready for Tuesday's sales. I'm only doing 20 and it's exhausting. Can't imagine people with 50 plus. Oh, you're doing the alt army stuff. Oh dear. Oh dear, I didn't mean to do that. Let's just, let's get out of here real quick. Whoops. Just panicking for season 1, not making gold for the like 5 mil investments. Have faith. Have faith. You got this. Have faith. In that case, I do actually need to do some skinning, don't I, really? That's kind of something I wasn't really planning on, but I guess we do. I wonder if it's worth... Yeah, I need to go do some skinning. Do we kill bees? Let's just go kill some bees, I suppose. Or linger in a bee group. Where are the bees? They're around here somewhere, aren't they? Finding a group without 5 people in it is apparently tough. Jesus, there's a lot of groups for the bee farms. Is this what everybody's doing? Why does it say bee farm no skin? I don't get it. Oh, it's not a skinning farm, it's the bee mount farm. Okay. I didn't even realise there's a difference. I don't do farming. All I want is a group of people to kill the bees for me so I can skin them. So I can get skinning done nice and fast. Oh. Gotta love hanging around a bee group for those corpses. Well, my shard seems to be remarkably quiet. Apparently I didn't get the tag on those. Oh, these dudes don't even give proper leather. Guys, that's why I hate farming. Right, nobody wants me in their group, clearly. Let's try again. Is there a way to filter out groups that are full? It'd be really, really convenient if you could easily filter out full groups. Oh, there we go. Yoink. Oh, one dude. One dude does not constitute a farm. Are you inviting more? Let's go. No chill. I have chill. I ain't got time for chill. Gold to be made. Crazy? Out of curiosity, what's my dude's gear? 550. Could be worse. Okay, this should hopefully not only skill up my skinning, but maybe also get me the knowledge points for the week. That's the plan. Complete 3 world quests in the Isle of Dawn to unlock the special assignment. How have I not done that on this character? My god, these characters have literally spent so long crafting shit that they have not done anything in the open world. I kind of feel bad. Where's he going? He made the group and now he's out of it. Use an add-on called pre-made group filter to add in more options. Didn't they add a bunch of this sort of stuff? I swear this was one of the expansion features that they were meant to add a whole bunch of stuff to it. Where's it gone? I'm pretty sure they were meant to add a whole bunch of stuff. Did I just make that up? Or is that in another... Is that like... Is there more options in the dungeon? I don't know. I swear they were meant to add stuff. Only in the dungeon ones? Oh, okay. Oh, our group's been delisted. And somebody's left. Okay, this isn't working very well, is it? I've zero patience. Let's try again. German bee hunting? I know that's a German group, but probably not German bees. That's a 2x4. They're not going to invite any more. Need healer and demon hunter? What about regular hunter? 2x4. Oh, I'm going to be honest, the amount of time it's taken me to do this, I could have probably just gone and done regular skinning, you know. Tag him, feign death. Easy win. Hunting bees in Germany sounds illegal. I think hunting bees generally is pretty illegal. I don't know why you'd... Well, obviously outside of World of Warcraft, I have no idea why you'd hunt bees. Bees make honey. Honey good. Honey good. Right, is there a solo farm? Because I can't be doing with these bee business. This is absolutely ridiculous. There are impalers just south of the shore there. Let's have a look, shall we? Did I actually get invited to a group that might be killing things? Oh, I did. Okay, well, we'll give that a go then quickly. This was not my plans today to start figuring out how to do skinning farms, but this was a means to an end to get some quick weekly knowledge points. Turned out to end up not being so quick, but I see why demon hunters are desired. I see, I see. What spec did I go for with skinning? Well, this is the supplementary profession to my blacksmith, so this was by design only going to go into skinning the daily. There wasn't really any plans on doing any particular long-term farming on this dude. Just enough knowledge points to do the beast fang on the daily. It's a level 80 character, so you know, might as well be doing something. Not going the bolt route. Well, I've got a bunch of characters that aren't level 80, which I was thinking about putting them as tailoring to do the bolts. As a, once again, as a nice supplement to whatever their main crafting profession is. On the level 80s, I was going to put skinning, because at least they can do the superb beast fang every day. The reality is I might can all of this off as a waste of time at some point, we'll see, but I also then have to kind of remember to come out daily and kill the beast, which we'll see if that happens. Have Tinderboxes of profane Tinderbox delve farming been nerfed? Been nerfed? I don't even think it's a thing in the first place, really. I'm convinced the Tinderbox thing is a bubble anyway. It's going to go pop in a couple of days. And for reference, that's not me downplaying it because I've got a bajillion invested in it or anything. That's just... I think it's one of those that's just had too much hype around it. Oh, our tank's dead. That's not fun. If you're farming tinderboxes, it's the fastest way to get them. The fastest way to get them is to buy them on the auction house. But yes, if you are farming them, it probably is. It's quicker than treasures. But I'm not convinced it's the most... I'm not totally convinced it's the most smart thing you could be doing right now anyway. I think it's just a big hype. I'm not convinced. I've seen this thing before. I've seen this before. It smells a lot like a goblin bubble, this one. I do look forward to doing some more delves though. I've almost, well, maybe not deliberately, but I've not done many delves yet. And I kind of do... I do want to get into delves a little bit. It is kind of more my thing. I was very skeptical of delves when we got going with the War Within. I didn't really see the point of them. But if they can be a nice little sort of solo progression system that you can bring friends along to as well if needs be, sure. Would you go finesse for herbing tool, perception for mining, or finesse for both, or what? Trying to decide my blue tools. You would probably... I mean, the honest answer is I don't know. Mining, your biggest money maker is probably going to be getting the null stones. So whatever, stacking perception in that regard to get null stones is probably a good play, maybe. I think the stats are pretty balanced generally for herbalism and mining. I realistically don't think there's much in it. Yeah, I really don't think there's much in it. Got 3. I kind of feel like I'm leeching pretty hard here, considering I'm never killing anything. But these guys are much faster than me. Any idea if there's something weird with nullstone drop rates? Seems like I go on big streaks of an hour plus either way. I know it's RNG, but still. I've done probably 5 hours of farming this entire expansion. I've not got enough personal experience. I love all the farming questions, but I need people to understand that's not me. While I am out farming right now, it's not my speciality in any way, shape or form. I mean, I probably know more about farming than I do PvP, but it's still close. Let's put it that way. Still pretty close. Do you think the Ignition Forge buff has made mining your own ore to multi-craft it into ally? No, you're falling into a big trap there. Farming your own materials is never the answer. That is the I only play professions to craft my own stuff and don't care approach. And even then it's arguably wrong. Farming your own materials does not make them free. They still maintain the exact same market value that they would have if you just bought them off the auction house. The only difference is you've also spent your own time getting them. So you would argue they're worth even more than what they're worth on the auction house because you've basically spent on them twice. Farming your own materials is usually a bad idea. It definitely doesn't make anything more worth. It just reduces your upfront gold cost. But don't get caught by that trap of that you farmed it so it's free. The only reason you should farm your own materials is if you physically don't have the gold to buy them off the auction house. And even if, and if that's the case, the harsh reality is you should probably be the one out there farming and selling the materials in the first place. Because your ability to make, with crafting professions, you have to spend big to make it big. And so there's this common concept of that you need a reasonable amount of gold before crafting professions outstrip what you can do with gathering. You've got to be able to purchase like 1 million gold worth of materials within crafting before it starts to be more valuable to you than just spending an hour farming, usually. So if you haven't got the ability to spend on those materials up front, and that the thought behind that is that you will spend 1 million gold on materials to make 1.1, 1.2 million gold worth of stuff to then sell. So your profit is the 100k there. Your profit is preferably 10%, 20% if you can manage it. Considering even basic gathering right now can net you 30, 40,000 gold an hour. You'd have to be selling in excess of like 500,000 gold worth of stuff to actually make it more worthwhile. Crafting has a higher ceiling. You can make more with crafting, but you've got to be in the position to do it properly. Otherwise, the best thing to do is actually just go out farming. Worth it's telling me I'm making 60k an hour herb mining constantly. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much trust in add-ons, mind you, but like do an hour's worth of farming, put the materials on the auction house, come back an hour later and see how much you've got. That's the best indication is actual raw facts. We set the Weaver Cloth bag market yesterday. My God. My God. This dude isn't... What's going on? I was gonna say, that dude's not even our tank. Pulled the entire zone and he wasn't even the tank. I didn't even realise I saw Demon Hunter and just assumed. At this point I can jump on my leatherwork and craft a bunch of materials of whatever's profitable, make a decent chunk of change in a few minutes. Yeah, I mean that's the long-term advantage of crafting, for sure, absolutely. The fact is though, is you've got to have a decent amount of gold to be able to do that. A lot of it's not like, it's not deliberately gatekeeping. I'm hoping at least sounds like at least logical, reasonable advice. But most people are much better off gathering than they are playing with crafting professions, especially at the beginning. Like I said, gold makers will often tell you need like 1 million gold before you can play with crafting professions properly. And that's not because it costs you 1 million gold to level up professions or anything. It's the fact that you need to be able to buy a good amount of materials to craft into a bunch of stuff to be able to sell it for enough that the profit makes it worth doing. If you spend 100k on materials, the best you can expect to make out of that is like 110, 120k by the time you've crafted stuff and sold it. And then you realise, well, you haven't made 100k, you've made like 10, and in the same time and effort, it could have taken you to just go pick up herbs for 20 minutes. If you are doing, often if you're doing crafting and you do it at too small of a scale, it actually ends up being way more costly than it does actually making you anything, really. If you're purely after the gold, if you're looking to get that token to play the game for free, farming is absolutely your friend. Spend some time, kill some stuff, gather some things. Sell them to the people that are willing to buy those materials after you. Getting into crafting right now, if you've not done the shuffles, is going to be a minus play. If you do it wrong, it will be a minus play. You would want to go for like a pure minimal effort, maximum reward build, which means you're not producing the best quality things out there, but you're producing reasonably valued items, but you're producing them very cheaply. So you want to be stacking, you're going to be wanting to get enough skill to be able to make something, but then what you want to really be doing is using concentration to bridge the gap between making something that's trash and nobody wants and making something that somebody actually might want. You can set up a character with a profession. 20,000 gold now can probably level a profession to the point where you can use concentration and make 5 to 10k gold a day. So that profession will pay for itself very quickly. But that's the way you got to go. You've got to submit to the fact that you're not going to be making the quality 5 crafted gear. You're not going to be making the guaranteed tier 3 flasks. Those professions, those characters are not going to be making the best of the best. But what you can do is make the, you know, the middle tier stuff. You can use some concentration. You can keep your crafting costs very cheap and do some very basic things. But the only reason that works is because the people who are sweating it out, the people that are playing with professions aggressively, often don't have the time to also dominate the cheaper markets because it's not worth it to them. They're better off focusing entirely on the top tier markets and just, you know, letting other people play with the smaller stuff. Now, unfortunately, I do kind of see that the profit in even the top tier stuff will get so skinny at some point that there'll be an awful lot of people with like near max profession builds that then start, you know, focusing on making quality 2 healing potions just because you go where the profit is. Hey, there's my abyssal fur. That's what I was looking for. Right. Considering I'm contributing like practically 0 to this this group, I'll let them be on their way. Am I shuffling? Not on this character. Well, I have on this character. I'm not now, though. My blacksmith is full build. I'm just doing this so that I can use the profession slot for something on the daily. What was this thing I got? Oh, a hot honeycomb. It was blue. It intrigued me. I need a skinning book. Oh, I also need to switch this to normal flying again. Oh, I've got my 157 Artisan Acuity. Nice. You know what that means? We can get our blacksmithing bag. What do we need for our blacksmithing bag?
My directive is to serve you.
Containers, bag. What's it called? Ignition satchel? Yeah. Track mats. 20 exquisite weaver cloth. 4 sanctified alloys. Holy shit. Makes the bag expensive, doesn't it? Is there anybody online in the guild that can make this? Shall I put it as a guild order? Any tailor out there that wants to make a blacksmith bag? Harvest my resourcefulness. $20 exquisites. Jesus. Stupid sanctified alloys. Okay.
My directive is to serve you.
Oh,
My
flipping out. I didn't
directive
pick up the
has been
reagents.
fulfilled. I have calibrated my prices to be reasonable.
Let's make sure our guildies get paid.
My thanks for your patronage.
I wonder if there's anybody online in the guild that can actually make it. Professions, tailoring, ignition, satchel, view crafters. There's a mage. There's a mage. Does he actually have it? I'm assuming he does. They're AFK. That's a good start. That's a good start. Flipping out. Gotta thank you for increasing my gold from 60k to 500k. It's not much, but it's honest work. If I don't have the time nor the will to compete with goblins, I might as well make them my clients. Sure, got what I worked for, even if casually. Tomorrow, Alchemy is my bet. Fair play. Hey, if it works, it works. Good effort. 500, yeah, exactly. 500k is more than most people ever have. Like, you can usually look at the, whatever the token is. I've had this theory for a long time. It's not really backed up in much science, but if you ever look at what the token's valued at, I usually believe most players don't have... I tend to believe most players never really have more than what a token's worth of gold is. Because most people don't make gold. Most people have many, many more reasons to spend gold in the game, and I don't think most people ever make it particularly. The only time most people, I think, have a reasonable amount of gold is if they, A, are somewhat savvy with the professions, but most of the time, people are not. Secondly, people buy a token to get some gold, but then the only reason they did that is because they're about to spend some of it anyway. So I tend to think most players never really have more than this. So, I mean, if you've made 500k in, like, you know, a couple of hours of effort over the last couple of weeks, then fair play. You're already doing way better than most. I remember when most people couldn't afford their epic flying. Yeah, 5k for epic flying. Back in the day when the meta was put it on the auction house. How do you make gold? Put it on the auction house. That was it. That was literally it. Alright, so that bag is likely to be made. Where do we stand with skinning points? Okay, we're still short. We need 8 more points with skinning. I don't know how we get 8 more points with skinning. Scribe book is 1. Scribe book is 1. Skinning turn-in is 3. That's 4. Without rep, yeah, without rep, I don't know how I do it. I need Hallowfall at 14. Hallowfall at 14, or I need 200 Artisan Acuity to get the first book, which is like, Hey, Crafter's made my bag for me. Nice. Where'd it go? There it is. Ever-burning ignition grants an additional 20 ingenuity, resourcefulness, and multi-craft. That will definitely help. That will absolutely help. Okay. Right. Okay. I think I'm hungry. I think I'm probably going to leave it there for now. I'm unsure if there'll be a stream tomorrow. There's some YouTube stuff I want to get sorted as we're about to go into season 1. Secondly, it might not be a terrible thing for me to take a bit more of a chill day before it gets crazy the second half of the week. So yeah, there may or may not be a stream tomorrow. We will see. I haven't quite decided. If I end up just sitting down to play the game for a bunch of hours, I'll throw the stream on anyway. But it might be a little bit more sporadic. We will see. We will see. But thank you all for joining us today. Hope you had fun. I definitely did. I'm slowly feeling as if we're getting there. The excitement, like we've had the early expansion hype now, and we're kind of getting into the rhythm of things a little bit more. And I'm starting to feel exactly how the remainder of at least this first season is going to play out. I'm excited for what's going to happen later on this week. Most of my professions now are at the point where they're kind of ready. You know, if there's something that explodes, I can kind of dive on it. So that's got some excitement to look forward to. Tomorrow will be the auction house wars, or we will see. We will see. Yeah, for Team NA at least, Tuesday reset will be an interesting one. But yeah, come say hi on the Discord if you're not over there already. Links for that are down below, whether that be in the description or in the Twitch panels. Yeah, have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll catch you all next time, boys and girls. Peace.